All right, everyone, it's time to talk about a very, very funny article. I'm not surprised about the surname involved here. John Schwarz. Yes, indeed. Let that sink in for just a moment. We're going to read some of this verbatim. In early February, John Schwarz, a self-described mindfulness and meditation facilitator, proposed a 24-hour nationwide economic blackout of major chains on the last day of the month. Schwarz urged people to forego spending at Amazon, Walmart, and all other major retailers and fast food companies for a day. He called on them to spend money only at small businesses and on essential needs. Now, I do support small businesses. In that sense, of course, I'm not against this kind of economic blackout. I think that pretty much everything is better from a small business, a small, locally owned, regional chain, something like that, as opposed to big box stores. So that part, yeah, I can agree with it. The system has been designed to exploit us, said Schwarz, who goes by the one called Jay on social media in a video to his roughly 250,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok. On February 28th, we are going to remind them who really holds the power. For one day, we turned it off. Now, why it's newsworthy when somebody with that level of audience makes a social media post remains to be seen. But I have my theory. My theory, and its timing is quite apt, is that Trump got into office. All of a sudden, this was a big concern. I would note that it wasn't a big concern to these same people when Joe Biden was in office. This is partisan politics. It's a direct attack on the U.S. economy more than anything else. Now, will it even put a dent in the economy? No, not really. And there is something to be said for, going to small businesses, small local businesses. I prefer to use them myself preferentially as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But the timing of the legacy media articles about it is rather it's a little bit telling now, isn't it, when you think about it? This never happened under the former administration. Under the former administration, when corporations were gaining huge amounts of money, by the way, they were perfectly fine. Go to Walmart, go to McDonald's, go to Wendy's, etc. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Go to the big box stores. The second that Donald Trump comes into office, all of a sudden, that's a bad thing to do. These businesses do disproportionately affect the economy, by the way. Beyond their actual output, there's also the investment angle. Most small businesses, it's like, okay, you own a building and you sell things. That's your business. With regional chains, it's a little bit more developed. You have a supply chain and stuff like that, and local truckers that are working around and so forth. But with the big box stores, they have an international presence and they are on the stock market. They have huge amounts of money invested in them. I think that the idea is therefore to try to collapse the stock market more than anything else. I think it's to try to collapse an aspect of the economy. Now, do I care if Walmart goes out of business? No, absolutely not. I never go to Walmart unless I absolutely have to. I don't care for the business at all, and I see the people that own it as corrupt, and I don't like to go to box stores. Sometimes you have to, unless you have to go to a small local business. But that being said, it's a targeted attack, quite clearly. When you wait until the new administration is minted to bitch about these businesses, and to try to drive their stock down, which is effectively what I think is what they're trying to do. It's a little bit different now, isn't it? It's a little bit strange. The timing, totally coincidental. No, I don't think so. I don't think the timing is coincidental. I think that this is a direct attack on the U.S. economy based on the current administration. And there are people right now that are rooting for the demise of the United States. They hate Trump so much that they would rather be barefoot and living in a hut than acknowledge that And the economic reality is generally optimistic under Orange Man bad. I've seen this before. I mean, I see liberals, they post about it all the time. They'll say something like, I'm hoping that the collapse comes because, then some right wingers do the same thing, and I oppose them as well. I'll get into that in a second. They're hoping that the economy collapses because then maybe we can finally remove him from office because they hate him so much. Some people on the far right are hoping for the same thing, accelerationism. They're hoping that the economy collapses so that there's like a phoenix rising from the flames of the ashes that used to be the United States. I would rather not, just saying. I would rather have a healthy and strong United States, but I suppose that makes me a cuck or a sellout or a far righter, or depending on who you ask. This was never done under the Biden administration. There were people that have, 250,000 people is a substantial audience. There are people who have substantial audiences, but they never said jack shit about the box stores and shit like that when Biden was in office. Well, at least a liberal administration is in there, so that's an improvement. I suppose that's basically the bead that they're getting. But now Orange Man is in there. So now we need boycotts. We need boycotts because corporation is bad, but really it's more about Orange Man bad when you really think about it. And it's quite clear. It's very, very obvious. That's about all. Peace out.